Engaging the logical mathematical intelligence, rethinking school curriculum. If some students are wired to think logically, strategically, and analytically, then why do so many classrooms limit their potential to memorizing formulas or solving textbook problems? Logical mathematical learners thrive not just on numbers and calculations, but on the ability to detect patterns, make reasoned deductions, and understand how different components connect to produce a result. If education is to be meaningful for these learners, then shouldn't we design learning environments where their natural abilities to problem solve, strategize, and think critically are consistently challenged and cultivated? What if these students weren't simply asked to solve equations, but were invited to develop mental strategies for complex calculations, analyze how systems function, or explore how algorithms impact everyday life? Imagine classrooms where logical thinkers were asked to design a process for measuring something intangible, like influence, emotion, or ethical impact, turning abstract ideas into structured frameworks. Wouldn't that not only engage their cognitive strengths, but also prepare them for real-world problem-solving that demands clarity, precision, and structured thinking? These learners flourish when challenged to perform mental arithmetic quickly, create a multi-step process, or devise a logical strategy to achieve a goal, whether it's optimizing time, maximizing resources, or planning a group project. What if students were tasked with assessing the viability of a business idea, or analyzing the mechanics of how a particular machine or system works, from a bicycle gear system to a solar panel circuit? Wouldn't that empower them to see logic not as a school subject, but as a tool for navigating and improving the world around them? And it's not just about numbers. It's about structure, sequence, and cause and effect reasoning. A logical mathematical learner may thrive when asked to deconstruct a flawed argument, design a fair voting system, or propose an evidence-based solution to a social issue. These students excel when they're asked, "What happens if?" and encouraged to build their answers through data, rationale, and deduction, not just opinion. Isn't this exactly the kind of thinking we need to cultivate for scientists, engineers, researchers, data analysts, and systems thinkers of the future? If education is truly about preparing students to solve problems that haven't been solved yet, then we must ask, are we nurturing the logical minds in our classrooms, or are we boxing them into repetitive tasks that limit their creativity and curiosity? Because if logical mathematical intelligence is about making sense of complexity, then our classrooms should be places where students are encouraged to break things down, build things up, and always ask, how does this work, and how can it be better? If we fail to engage these students through meaningful challenges, strategic design, and real-world application, then we are not just underestimating them. We are underpreparing them for the very roles that will shape how we think, build, and innovate in the years to come. Logical mathematical intelligence goes far beyond solving equations or memorizing formulas. It is the ability to think systematically, recognize patterns, understand complex cause and effect relationships, and approach problems with structured reasoning. Yet traditional education often reduces this profound intelligence to repetitive drills and rote computation, missing the opportunity to foster the architects, inventors, strategists, and scientific thinkers of the future. Shouldn't education help these learners apply their logic not just to numbers, but to the world itself? Imagine classrooms where problem-solving isn't confined to math periods, but woven across disciplines, where students are asked to analyze how an ecosystem sustains itself, model the spread of information in social networks, or design efficient systems for distributing resources. Instead of limiting logical thinking to isolated math exercises, schools could create real-world challenges that require multi-step reasoning, strategic planning, and hypothesis testing, allowing logical mathematical learners to experience the exhilaration of building solutions that matter. When these learners are properly engaged, they begin to see their logical minds as tools for innovation, creativity, and transformation. They aren't just people who are good at math. They are the ones who deconstruct complex problems into manageable parts, envision new frameworks, and predict outcomes based on intricate variables. Developing this skill early doesn't just create better students, it creates more adaptive adults who know how to design, solve, and build resilient systems in an unpredictable world. Logical mathematical intelligence, when cultivated well, also nurtures profound critical thinking. These students are naturally inclined to ask why, how, and what if. They can detect hidden flaws in reasoning, spot inefficiencies in systems, and innovate better approaches when old methods fail. Imagine a workforce filled with individuals who aren't content to maintain broken systems, but are empowered to repair, redesign, and revolutionize them. Isn't that the kind of thinking every field, medicine, engineering, economics, climate science, desperately needs? Long-term, nurturing this intelligence leads to adults who are more independent in their thinking, more confident in their problem-solving, and more resilient in the face of complexity. These are individuals who can devise strategies, manage resources intelligently, make data-driven decisions, and evaluate risk and reward with clarity. Whether they become entrepreneurs, researchers, analysts, engineers, or educators, they bring with them a powerful mindset of structure, adaptation, and forward-thinking resilience. In a world increasingly flooded with information and complexity, logical mathematical thinkers will be crucial not just for innovation, but for making sense of the chaos. These are the people who can cut through noise, build reliable models of reality, and help others understand the systems that shape our lives. But this will only happen if we start treating logical mathematical intelligence as more than a skill to pass standardized tests. It must be developed as a way of engaging thoughtfully and creatively with the world itself. To do this, educators must move beyond repetitive drills and into dynamic, interdisciplinary problem-based learning. Students should be challenged to design processes, construct simulations, solve ethical dilemmas using logic, or build predictive models for societal trends. They should be asked to not just answer, but to think systemically, test ideas, and explain the reasoning behind their solutions. Logical minds need the freedom to question, to structure, to dismantle, and rebuild, and the curriculum must make room for this kind of expansive, applied thinking. When we do this well, we don't just create students who can pass math and science exams. We cultivate future leaders, architects of sustainable change, and visionaries who know how to turn complex problems into elegant solutions. In nurturing logical mathematical intelligence as a living, creative force, education becomes not just a preparation for tests, but a preparation for building a wiser, more resilient world.